Good evening. We're here this evening to speak with Arozco. He's the video and
television
production faculty member and the dean of Oxnard College, Ken Sherwood. And we're going to discuss this evening possible connection and going together to develop the Oxnard Public channel and perhaps to help each other get back on the air. So, I guess there's questions.
Yeah, I mean, I've got something to start. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your time, for the invitation to be here and share our thoughts and more than anything, just to fellowship here and talk about our community, because we all love Oxnard. You know, that's why we're here. We wouldn't be here if we didn't care for the community. I've been here for 12 years now and love it. I live about a block away from the college, so it's a great college. I was just mentioning to Steve that our numbers have increased this semester, and I don't know if you followed the last couple of years with the budget cuts, how difficult it was for any of the arts at the colleges. We were on the verge of getting cut, you know, and then Prop 30 passed, and you know, thanks to the residents, the citizens of California, and we were able to save a lot of the programs. And not only save them, we have recently invested probably about almost $100,000 in television gear for the television program in the past probably 3 months. And that's not to say the building that was built with our money, Measure S fund. Remember Measure S? They pushed in around 2000, 2002. They built a $20 million performing arts building there on our campus, and that's where the television program is housed out of. So we have amazing resources there, and a supporting administration. This is one of our administrators here with me today. I invited him, and he just quickly says, "Yeah, I'll be there." You know, so definitely there's a buy-in by the administrators for the TV program. Our students are tremendous. As a matter of fact, they're the ones who really saved the program when it was going through potential cuts. They were at city council meetings. We saw a few of them. They were very vocal, and we're real proud of them. We have about 80% men of color in our program, which means that a lot of these young men are staying off the streets because they're learning skills in film and television. And I'm real proud of that because we're the only program other than like Auto Body that has that high number of men of color. So I'm proud that they're liking something, they're sticking with it, they're getting better at it, and they're getting skills to be employed in our community. A lot of them make videos, corporate videos, wedding videos. A lot of them work for TV stations. And when I mentioned that you know, public access might be available in the future, a lot of them said that they'll be there to support and to lend their expertise in building that. So, you know, Oxnard College, you know, we're part of the PEG system. Although we're off the air right now, part of that $100,000 investment is to get the infrastructure in place there on our campus to be back on the air. And you know, it's a great lab for our students to be there and be in the television studio and produce things that are live on the air. It's just a great training ground for our students. We want that back. And I'm just happy to be here, eager to hear your thoughts. And that's really all I had to really talk about as far as like my thoughts.
Can you clarify that $100,000 comment again? I know you mentioned it a couple of times, but that number was
From Oxnard College.
okay. As a result of Proposition 30?
Well,
is that the ultimate source? Or?
Well, no. I don't know what the source of that is. I'm just saying that first the college was looking at cutting our program, not just our program, Auto Body, Auto Tech. I mean, there was like a long list of programs. But Prop 30 kind of righted the ship for all community colleges throughout California. And then they looked at it and said, okay, if you're not going anywhere, what do you need to not only survive but to be productive? and to thrive and have the students, and give the students the gear that they're gonna need to be competitive in the workforce.
Okay, so this was more just to keep your program, to allow your program to achieve, not specifically to be the E on pay broadcast.
Oh, no, this has nothing to do, but we do need money to get back on the air. And like I mentioned at the other meeting, you know, it's very difficult to go to Time Warner Cable and say, hey, we need money to get back on the air, because Time Warner Cable, well, Time Warner Cable really has no allegiance to the paid system, because their responsibility is to give the city the money from the cable franchise, and it stops there. So now, you know, I'm really happy that the administration said, hey, we cannot wait for all these ducks in a row to line up. We're gonna invest our money into your infrastructure and build this program, because it is my understanding that they don't want just a mediocre program, they want a stellar program. And a few cameras, that's $30,000, you know, a couple lenses, you know, a couple thousand, I mean, it all adds up, and all the little pieces to connect this, to connect that, the tally keeps going up, you know. Yeah.
Do you have the feed to Time Warner already, or do you need money to hook up to Time Warner for the programming?
Time Warner their presence is on our campus, but we needed the money from our district to hook up our new building to that feed.
Oh, and you've done that?
No, we're in the process of doing that.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We're still, our station is still in the black right now.
I thought I heard somebody say that you might be able to give us a space for our rack and maybe an interview area. Is that?
You mean,
We
does
should
the
be-
building,
that might
does the
work.
building outlet, does the building have room for more stations?
For the
Well-
like public, the rack, to hold the public's programming?
Well, I can't comment on how to allocate space in there, because it's not mine. I wish it was my building. But, I mean, Ken could probably answer more to how someone would go about allocating or getting space in that building. I have no idea.
Like a lease or something?
Yeah.
And, by the way, I'm Steve Nash, I'm the interim treasurer for the group. It's my understanding that one of the requirements for getting a nonprofit status, not 501 C3, is to have an actual, physical presence in the form of an address or whatever we can get away with. So we're still trying to figure that out, because that's really that will really that's one of the keys that will unlock the city's willingness to part with its what it is, it's a 1% total revenues from the cable franchise license, both Time Warner and Verizon. So we're still trying to figure out how to, what hoops we have to jump through. And, I'm not sure exactly how much we can partner with Oxnard College. I mean, we would love to be, I can't speak for the entire group, but I think it would be a great partnership. And it would solve a lot of thorny issues. Because it's the old chicken and the egg conundrum. I mean, the city won't release any funds until we have initiated the nonprofit status. But we can't really do the nonprofit thing without funding. So, it's like, well, there's a certain cost involved with, going through that. I don't know if we'll have to go through a lawyer or if it's simplified enough for the common man to do. But
Let me ask you a question, and let me ask the group a question here. How much does the group know about television production?
It varies by individual.
It's like the human body. Certain parts work. The rest are innocuous.
What I'm trying to say is that, when it comes, in terms of public access, there are different facets of public access. One, obviously, it's access, giving the community access to produce content. Another aspect of it is education, because a lot of community members do not know how to use a camera, do not know how to edit, do not know how to transcode their video to YouTube or to any other format. So there's an education component. A third facet is, well, there's a space issue. And not necessarily the rack and the technological component, but where to meet. Even the space right here that we're meeting in. Someone has to negotiate something. Someone has to clean this after, someone has to clean the restrooms. There is overhead involved, the lights that are on. So there's a lot of different facets that encompass taking on a responsibility of public access. Now, I see this group, and I don't know any of you really, I know a few people, but as a group, I don't know what your intentions are. But I do know you have good intentions. And I do know that you care about the city and you care about its people. So, regardless of this group's role in public access, whether it's the spearheading it or the involvement, whatever level, this group plays a key role in anything that happens up the street here in council chambers, because they're going to listen to this group and they're going to listen to other groups, but this group I believe has a strong influence. But it's important that this group identify how much they're committed to pursuing this, or how much they're committed to supporting public access in itself. In other words, sometimes you may not be able to run the nuts and bolts of it, but you may be able to make sure that its purpose is correct and serving the community right. So, how much technically involved does this group want to be, or more of the oversight? You see what I'm saying? There's definitely a decision that this group has to make.
And then that has implications for how you structure everything, right? One of our many challenges is we have one person, and his primary responsibility is providing the education for the students who sign up for the classes. To put together essentially a TV station that would serve multiple functions, public access, education, potentially government, we'd have to work together to figure out how to establish the operations. Essentially, you need a station manager, you need a couple other managerial type positions just to get things working. And those are the kinds of things that we as a college are probably not prepared to supply. So therein lies the part of what Andres is talking about, is figuring out what your goals are and then how you would want to structure that. And it's not quite as simple as we've got space for your rack. We're going to need to know, okay, so who's going to run the rack? Who's producing the content? And then if we can create a partnership, how do we start juggling all of that? And we've started, at the college, we're already looking into, there are multiple models around the country where this is being done. Some are close, Santa Barbara City College apparently has something working, so we're going to look at them. I've learned some things about Houston Community College District, that they did something similar. So there are lots of possibilities that are out there. One of the things we have to be careful of as a public entity is kind of staying out of the fray of disagreements between other groups about who wants to do it, who gets to do it. I'm new to the area. I only came to the college back in January, so I don't know too much of the history. There are a couple reasons that the program was moved under my supervision. One is we just think it makes more sense because I have the arts programs that we combine television. Another is that I spent the last 20 years in education, but in Hollywood. So I've made a lot of connections out there that we hope to open doors for our students to get into. So there are great possibilities, but it's a lot of work to try and coordinate all of those together. And we have, you're not the first group that's come to us and said, hey, we want to partner with you in running a TV station.
Yeah.
And
I want to,
get emails from KDTV every week practically. Who really wants to get in that space as well.
I also want to say that, accountability is huge. And in education, we're stewards. I mean, I have equipment from 3 different grants that I have to separate, and I have to color code. And last year, or 2 years ago, we were auditing. The lady came down, just a regular, routine audit. Okay, where's this? And they had the red tag, the yellow tag, the green tag, because I have to be very careful because that's taxpayer money. So, whoever the city decides is going to, if they decide to get public access going again, and whoever is in charge of buying equipment and maintaining equipment, they have to be very good stewards of that, because that's the taxpayer's money. And that's one thing that I always tell our adjunct faculty: look, we're just stewards. We're just taking this is not our, we're just taking care of this stuff, but it's the taxpayers who pay for it. So that's a big point. Yeah.
So I got it clear that you don't want to have any responsibility for the station manager and probably the programming technician. What about the training component?
That would be problematic as well. As I
Okay,
said, we have one instructor.
right, okay, I just
He's
wanted to
responsible
get
for all
clear
the
on what.
classes.
Yeah,
There's not going to be really an opportunity, absent, one option is anybody who wants to participate signs up for the classes and learns the training that way. And then that clearly is something that benefits both, because we
Right.
have enrollment in the program, you have folks who are learning the skills.
right.
But there really isn't an opportunity for him to just say, okay, let's get a bunch of folks together and I'll train you how to do
But
this.
who would we approach to find out about space if we were more organized than we are now? Assuming we're going to get to that.
You can start with me,
Oh.
since I supervise the program
And the building.
and the building. And we've had a couple of meetings, we've been dialoguing with our president, who is very much open to the idea. He would like to see us do something, but he's also a very, very cautious man. And so we have to move slowly and be very careful about how we put things in place so that it's very clear that we have the authority to do what we're doing, and then we are protecting the
But
processes as well.
If you're asking for part of the educational part of the PEG income, you have a bigger problem than we do, actually, because we don't have to share it with any other public, but you have to share it with Oxnard School District, da-da-da-da-da.
No, I'm sorry, we have to share what I'm sorry.
The educational funds that the city might
Well, let me
give.
talk about that, because I've done a lot of research and I've been to a lot of meetings. First of all, the allocation model is very unique. There is no allocation model.
Are you talking about specific to Oxnard or just in
I'm
general?
talking about specific to Oxnard.
Yeah.
There is no
I already
allocation
got
model.
that message.
Let me just say something real quick. You were at the meeting
I was.
last Monday.
I was.
And you, of course, you heard to me, an offer to put us up at the entrance.
Yeah.
Now, we heard that, but we discussed, what we discussed was, yeah, that's great, but we want to support our local school.
Absolutely.
And we want, if we need to get a hand up to get things going. And basically, we really don't have any, we don't have, we barely have recognition from the city. And they know we exist, and they know we're probably the most prominent group that's going after the public access channel. But what we would like to do is keep if there is, of course, Todd needs funding to get us put up over there. So what we were thinking is, if we had some way of going back to the city and then asking them, because we have a policy manual set up, we have
But asking the city for
that sort of thing.
what?
But if we go to the city with an organization and say, okay, we've got this organization, now we need this place to be put up, and if we could possibly get back to the city, get funding, get back to you guys, and see if we could partner up with money, so we're not depending on you directly for facility.
Yeah.
Not facility, for,
Equipment.
Okay, I see what you're saying, I see what you're saying, I see what you're saying. Let me,
Is there some way we could work
let me-
together
let
to
me-
do things so it's-
I'm gonna try to tackle what you just said. Okay, let's just kind of be very upfront, all right? Let's not have any, let's be very transparent right now, okay? The 1% that you're talking about, I'm sure all of you have done the math. Do you know what number that is?
I didn't bring my
Pick
paper,
one.
we received a report from the public information officer, so the information is not provided, so I didn't bring it.
And we understand that's only good for infrastructure. We can't use that for
It's
any-
technology
There won't be any money
and
out of that
infrastructure.
for staff.
No money for staffing. Okay, so getting back to the allocation model. Now, before, there was an allocation model, before DIPCA. And it was based on the number of students that the three entities had, or have. Oxnard College, Oxnard School District, the high school district, and the elementary. Obviously, there's more elementary kids than college kids. So they were given the lion's share of the profits, or that 1% of the franchise fee. And then the high school, and then finally the college. So it was probably, in my estimate, about 30,000 for the elementary, maybe 18,000 for the high school, and about 10,000 or 8,000 for the college. And that went on for years and years and years. And with that money, we were able to buy equipment and that, I'm talking about the E. I'm not talking about public access, I'm talking about education.
Was that pre-DIPCA?
Pre-DIPCA, this is pre-DIPCA. When DIPCA came in, the allocation model changed completely. When DIPCA came in, they said, okay, the state, the money's gonna come to the state first, because we want our share. So they get their cut, and then they give that to the rest of the city. So the city says, and now what? Well, now you have to fund one of the public access channels, or, but one of them has to be at least funded. So, where I think that we could have learned something in 2008 is, I think that we should have revisited the allocation model when DIPCA was fresh. So for the past 4 or 5 years, the city has been putting that 1% into a fund. And we hope the money's still there.
And I think it's around a little over 1 million, I don't know if it's 1.2 or 1.4 million.
Yeah, we're estimating about $220,000 a year. Sound about right?
Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah,
it does sound about right.
So it's not a lot of money. I mean, $200,000 is not a lot of money. If you're looking at the government channel, you know, the city channel, right? That they do all of the
City Watch.
City Watch. I mean, that money could probably just go there and be funded well. I know Luis Hueneca, you know, probably Luis is a very good man, very respectful man. He does a good job.
Well, in all this time, we've only spent about 100,000 a year, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But not to say that the city channel only needs 100,000. That's all they
Over 6
spend.
years.
Yeah, exactly. But I can tell you right now, their equipment is super outdated.
Well, they got the franchise.
Well, that goes to the general fund, and I guarantee you that's probably earmarked for a bunch of things already.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and potholes and things like that. So, yeah, but can they spend all that money on the government channel? It would be very inequitable, and it would be very unfair. We all agree, right? Yeah. Okay, so, okay, yeah. Oh, can they? They can. Would it be equitable? Would the community stand for it? They know we wouldn't stand for it.
We're gonna be trying to make them look real bad if they
Yeah.
try.
We've kind of gone over this. So we understand what you're saying. We understand perfectly. We've been over this and over this. And we know where the money is, we know how much money there is, we know our our chances of getting the money, what we need to do is cut to the chase right now. We need to be able to go to the city and say, here's our plan, we're gonna do it this way. We're either gonna go with Oxnard College or we're gonna go with Ventura College. And we're gonna, and we need, these are the things we need. We're gonna have to go to the city manager,
No,
drop them off the
no,
plan.
I was ramping up to a point though.
Okay, go ahead.
Very important. When you're talking about that 1%, there has to be a lot of political adjustments. I'm going to use that word, adjustments. Because now you're dealing with Oxnard School District. You're dealing with Oxnard Elementary School, High School District, the Elementary School District. And I heard a gentleman at that Monday meeting talking about Rio District, how they're not represented. I mean, it is a beehive's nest. You just can't say, hey, we want,
Elementary school.
pardon?
We have 5 elementary school districts in Oxnard.
Yeah, and where is, do they get any part of that 1%? In other words, it's not just, hey, well, let's take the public access, let's partner with these guys, and boom, bada, bada, boom. It's not that easy. We're talking about a lot of diplomacy here to speak to the school districts, to say, listen, you're not getting any money for this channel, zero money for this channel. I talked to Todd Dierdorf, who runs the high school channel. I said, Todd, we were looking at this old equipment, right, this rack, right there in this high school. I said, if this was gone, would you be upset? He was, absolutely not. No, they don't pay me to run this. This is extra overtime for me. I used to get paid for this. Now I don't. And I go, well, do you use it? I goes, well, I put stuff on TV, but most of it goes to the internet. So we're talking about maybe approaching the high school district and saying, take away your channel, but we'll give you some space on a new channel. You know, and really being diplomatic and getting everybody on board and doing a lot of the heavy work for the council members that they probably don't have time to do. But see what I'm saying? That's what
Well,
I'm
we've been
saying.
discussing a consortium with the schools.
That's a very, very important aspect that should not be overlooked. Because you're gonna have a lot of people up in arms unless they're brought into the equation and talked to respectfully and say, listen, you cannot create 24 hours of content for your channel. You don't have the resources. You don't have the resources. Public access doesn't have the resources to create 24 hours of new content. I mean, there's no money for that. So realistically, we have an education channel. Would I love to collapse all of the education channels that we have here into one awesome education channel, call it Education TV or whatever, and you know, the high school gets 5 hours, you know, the elementary gets 5 hours, the college gets maybe 7 hours, maybe the university gets another 3 hours, and it's one powerful education channel. They're not out because they're not getting any money anyway. Can they still put their content on TV? Yes. Would it be a better channel than in other words, I'd rather have one strong education channel than 3 diluted, mediocre channels. And then we turn to our attention on public access. That's a much needed front. With the invention and the creation of YouTube, the need for public access has gone way down. You want public access, make a video, put it on YouTube. You got public access. But it's very different when you bring an education component, when you bring an organization that can help people equipment-wise. They can check out equipment that they don't have. You know, citizens don't have money to pay $3,000 or $4,000 for a camera that they can check one out for the weekend. That's really powerful. Right? That's access. That's access.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is not a landmine, not a bunch of mines. We're not talking 1,000, but we're talking about 6 or 7 pretty big mines that somebody has to be very diplomatic, much more than I am, and be able to bring people together and come up with a nice plan that includes public access, the education, and the government. It's much more complicated than it appears to be.
You sound like you're pretty
So I just want to make a big point.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't speak for anybody but myself right
Sure.
now. We have a huge, you're talking about coordinating the educational interest. We have a huge challenge in front of us Because we have to bring in all the stakeholders, the service agencies, et cetera.
Who's we? I'm sorry. This
That's all there
group?
is us.
Okay.
You know, to contact all the agencies that we think should be having programs and get them on board with us and figure out, you know, membership fees and raising money on our own and that. But, I mean, I think if the educational people want a voice, they need to come to the table. We did have Dennis O'Leary here.
Yeah, he's part of the elementary, right?
Right, and
Yeah,
he's
he's a big
seriously
player in this too.
interested in it, yeah.
Yeah, see, but that takes legwork. That takes somebody
Right.
spearheading and saying, let's get high school, elementary to the table.
I think it's a good idea that you're proposing, but we have to face our limitations.
Well, I'm looking at it more from, if I'm a council member and I'm sitting there, I want the least amount of problems as possible.
Yeah, and if
I want-
we,
I
see,
want
if we
the
get the
least-
stakeholders on board,
But,
that
and-
gives
and-
us some
and-
political pressure.
Absolutely, and the stakeholders, my point is that the stakeholders are the education.
Some, no, I'm just talking about community organizations and business.
If they had continued on, and this would have been a smooth transition from 2008
Yeah,
into as they did in Ventura and as they did in Santa Barbara and a lot of other cities, that would have been great, and we could have handled that. But you really got a lot on our plate. We're trying to get public access on, we're trying to coordinate with the schools, but, you know, we're all volunteers.
yeah.
And we only have our evenings.
Yeah.
We meet once a week already, and we also meet on Sunday. And,
My point is, I think,
I mean.
I think,
This is,
no, I think that to have something succeed, it has to be comprehensive.
well,
If it's not comprehensive, it's not going to succeed.
okay, so how do we get the other players in on this? You want us to go out and solicit for the other players?
I don't know.
Let's say that, you know, pretend, we had sent out a flyer to all our stakeholders and all the educational, saying we're having this huge, you know, presentation of the coordinated Oxnard interest groups. Can you give us a large meeting space to invite all these people to?
We could probably arrange that.
Because I don't think this is adequate.
This is fine, but I think that we need, I don't think we need numbers. I think we just need the right people there.
Right, I understand, yeah.
Yes, sir.
If you could maybe write down some talking points, and I'd volunteer to go each one of the school districts and present them to
To get some dialogue going.
them, right?
Can you clarify one thing for me? Are you suggesting that the education of that the P and the E
And the G.
piggyback on the same channel? It's different channels.
Well,
Because we can do multiple channels for each.
yeah, but
each
I,
segment of-
my suggestion is that public access have its own channel, that education have only one channel, and that government have its own channel. Because if you see the content on the elementary and high school, it's very poor. Once again, better one strong education channel than three mediocre ones.
Right. Well, and that gets back.
Because remember, they're not getting any money right now anyway.
Yeah, I just need to clarify this issue. I think I've heard our public information officer at least make the suggestion that there is some money going to education.
No.
I guess I need to.
Oh, who's the public
clarify that.
information officer?
Christina Dearest.
Oh, no, she's well aware, we don't get a dime. We haven't got a dime since 2008.
But you're speaking for Oxnard College.
That's right.
I don't know about the elementary and the Oxnard Union.
You're right. If they were here, we could ask them.
Well,
They have a
O'Leary brought that point up, Dennis did bring it up,
Okay.
I think
and they're getting exactly the same amount of money as Oxnard College.
zero.
Yeah. I spoke to Ray Garza from the Oxnard Elementary School District, and the person he spoke to at the high school, same thing, $0.
Because our understanding is that all of that money has been going directly into the city's general fund.
Yes.
because the budget has been so bad, and DIVCA allows them to do that.
But no, the 1% can't.
Not the 1%.
Not the 1%.
But 5%.
5%.
Right, the 5%. And the other 1% has been accumulated.
Let me,
Just to touch on a couple of points, because you brought it up. What Ventura Caps has done is they actually convinced the city council to release, well, 40% of the 5% to help fund their operations by presenting an argument that this is an absolute necessity for the community and it really serves the vital community. Whether we can convince our city council to do the budgetary questions, I don't know. But that would, we're kind of looking for seed money, I think, in a way.
But seed money for
We
what?
can't get from the 1% pay fee, because that's for infrastructure, and we need to figure out.
I don't think that they're gonna release any of that 5%. in
Well,
my
see,
opinion.
the reason they can do that, they don't have a contract with Granicus. They're handling the Granicus portion.
Who
So
does
Channel
that?
6 does the government and the education.
You talking about Ventura?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're paying Granicus. So you have a chunk of change, a chunk of money that's going to that government side. And so part of when you're talking about that 40%, they're not paying Granicus for that part of the
Who's
equation.
Granicus?
Well, they run,
Contract.
they do the bandwidth and everything for Camarillo, Santa Paula, Oxnard, most of the cities in California.
And the government center.
Yeah, and the government centers.
Oh, I see.
So is Granicus an actual company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every time I've seen it, okay, I've only seen it, in small letters as
Right.
part of the company.
It's on the county.
Let me, if I could give everybody here just, I don't know, if you guys could just, if everybody here could just listen to just a vision here. I know it sounds kind of, kind of dramatic, but imagine an elementary school kid trained in the same editing format that he or she will be using at the university. Imagine a little kid in elementary being trained on a camera with the same skills that he or she will take on to university. So, one element is content creation. And you're gonna need a camera, and then you need post-production, you need to edit it. So I can see definitely the elementary schools and high schools getting some gear to produce. All right. Once that content is created, I really want everybody to grasp this. Let's say this water bottle takes up space, right? When you create a video, you have megabytes of space. And it is as solid as this. It takes up as much volume as this, all right? Right now, the city has years and years of video space on shelves, stacked up. Oxnard College has years, 25, 27 years of video stacked up in hard drives. Okay, hard drives, on shelves. If everybody's creating content, you're gonna have more water bottles, and where do you put all these water bottles? Okay. Now, where we can be ahead of the curve, we can even be ahead of CAPS, and we can even be ahead of Ventura College, and we can be years ahead, is if we focus on a shared network. Now, I want everybody to memorize those terms, okay? A shared network. Because the vision that I see for Oxnard is that an elementary school kid shooting the 2015 Salsa Festival, and the high school kid shooting the same festival, and the college kid shooting the same festival, Louisa Wadeka with the city shooting the same festival. How about they ingest all of their content into a shared system, and they label it 2015 Salsa Festival, right? High school, elementary, college, where public access, and then how about if a community member were to log on to this shared network and type in 2015 Salsa Festival, and all of the footage comes up. And they can begin to use that footage. And that footage is backed up, not only like in our new building, but it's backed up in the library. And it's also backed up here with the city at 2 in the morning. So if there's a fire, God forbid, there, Luis Huereca doesn't lose 30 years of salsa festivals. Because right now it can happen. One fire, everything's gone. And now notice how important it is to have a shared network. But to build this shared network, it's going to be about $150,000. So that's on the cheap side. On the high side, about $300,000. But where we are going to differ from any other community in California that I know of is that we will address the problem of space. And it will be an edit share system where it's communal, where people can address it, and this video right here the gentleman's recording could be ingested into this network, label it just right. Steve could, on his computer, access the files and edit if he wants to. That is a beautiful thing.
Just one really dumb question for everyone. Are you telling something, when you say shared network, is it like Netflix? There's a bunch of movies out there, and does anybody?
No. I'm talking about.
Play the movie, whichever the movie of their choice.
No, that's a good point. Whenever you put something on YouTube or Netflix, it's a file, right? It's amazing technology. They can take this water bottle and they can fold it, they compress it. They fold it to the size of this. So they've taken this and they've compressed it to this size. So the quality is not very good. So you can't take this and make a master file out of it. I'm talking about, the reason it's so expensive is because you're taking the uncompressed footage. I mean, it's somewhat compressed, but it's a high definition compression. And everybody's gonna be accessible, everybody's gonna have access to this.
On demand.
No. Well, yeah, they're gonna have access to it on demand, absolutely. They're gonna be able to say, type it in, and think about it. If I'm doing a package on salsa festivals, and I want to get the last 10 years, literally, I've had to drive down to Lisa's place, put in my hard drive, record everything, sit there for 2 hours, and then, or hey, Lisa, I'll be back for that. And then come back, take it back. Hey, Andres, do you have the graduation from 2 years ago? Yeah, hold on a minute. I gotta look in my pile of hard drives. It's a joke. It is a joke.
So you're talking about the user is going to use their computer rather than their TV set.
Oh, no, yes,
You're going
yes, you
to
definitely edit on a computer. But what I'm talking about is accessing files through fiber optic wire. You can go 27 miles without cellular, without an amplifier or anything like that. That means that people at Channel Islands University can hook up to this network, ingest footage, and then in that same network though, that's where we're gonna have the station run. So we've ordered an automation system where I say, I'm gonna take this video, that video, and it puts it in my scheduler. And then it plays it from the same network, it plays it onto our airways. So this is, I believe, the push that this community group, that we as stakeholders should talk about and say, what are we gonna do with all this space? Where are we gonna put all these megabytes? We need a place to put that. And the technology already exists, but it costs a lot of money. But not a lot of money for me, a lot of money for Ken, a lot of money, but not a lot of money for an entity like the city. Okay. Well, you gentlemen had a comment back.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It almost seems like we should just bypass the television public access channel and go with the network on the internet, because that's what the education folks, such as yourself, are already looking forward to. Why do the TV thing when you can get this network with the stored content and the accessibility, and then channel it to your computer, and through your computer you could also display it on your wide screen.
Yeah, no, can I address that? Well, first of all, it's public access. And, you know, the kids at the high school have access to the cameras with the money from education. Luis has access to the cameras from government. But where do the citizens have access to equipment? They don't have access to equipment. You need a place to ingest that, that footage. You just can't go to any network and do it. It's gotta be a fiber line. So there's gotta be specific places where, for instance, like Oxnard College would have an ingest station, the city would have an ingest station, and we would just ingest all this, ingest suite, sounds better, ingest suite, and then we would just, they would upload it. Somebody would have to be trained, right, to teach them to label it right. But as far as like a channel itself, that's a good argument. But
Well, I think
you know,
the answer is, eventually, that probably is where everyone's gonna go. And
Yeah.
that's what's challenging the networks right now, is the future and the internet and how much is taken away. But for the foreseeable future, people are still turning to cable providers or satellite providers to get that content on their TV. Sure, there are some folks who have invested the money in, you know, high-speed computers. I'm one of them. I'll watch a lot of stuff, hook it up to my big screen. But the majority of citizens aren't there yet, and they're not gonna be there for another 20, 30, 40 years. Eventually, it will all transition that way, more than likely, but there's still gonna be a long gap where the most immediate and effective way to communicate the content to the viewing public is
yeah.
over the fiber. Get it to a TV
Yeah.
through a cable.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's the point. What we're trying to do is provide the street. We gotta find out how the heck we can go outside and pave a street that we can drive the things that the city needs to be put onto that channel. Education, parks, energy, downtown rehabilitation, agriculture, the festivals, the MRF, the streets, police, housing, cultural festivals, fracking and air quality, senior needs, healthcare, Ormond Beach, transportation, and on and on and on and on. This is valuable. There's some value to each and every one of these departments that the city is running to have the education, the public educated on these things. And if they want it, they're going to have to pay for it. And if they're not interested in having it, then we're all wasting our time.
They're gonna pay for what, I'm sorry?
Well, in order to get education issues out there on the television, if it's worth it for them to have education on the television, they're gonna have to pay for it. Somebody's gonna have to pay for it, otherwise they're not gonna pay for it.
Well, no,
If you can defund it now.
I think the fact that they're even listening, they're entertaining, they're entertaining us, that means, that's a good thing. I mean, you know, that's a good thing. I think that there's a possibility that they're gonna approve, or they're
I've
gonna,
been
you
to
know.
several of the city council people.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned to them that if we don't have funding, that we're all wasting our time. And they didn't tell me, hey, George, you're wasting your time. Nobody's told me that. So I'm assuming.
But I suggest, if you boil what I'm trying to say down, I suggest that you bring the stakeholders involved, those are important, especially education. And then you let them know exactly how that money will be spent. And I'm trying to say that a big chunk of that should be in a network that our children are gonna use. You know what I mean? That they're gonna be able to type up in, 2050, the Salsa Festival, and they're gonna have access to high definition footage right there, not YouTube compressed files that look really bad, but really, because we're shooting on nice HD cameras, because the price of HD cameras has fallen so much, but we lose that quality when we put it on YouTube. But so, if the city has an articulated plan in front of them, not only, philosophically how they're gonna spend the money, but tangibly, this is how it's gonna spend the money. And they know that these other stakeholders are not gonna rebel and say, hey, wait a minute, where's our cut? If they know we've already talked to them, they're on board, everybody's here, they're gonna go, that seems doable. Now, to get everybody in a room and agree, and to come up, well, as far as the technology and the shared system, that's, I've been dreaming about this idea for the past 7 years. So I have enough, information on how to accomplish that. But we've never had the money. to do an edit share system on our campus. Every year, I did not give a proposal for an edit share system this year. Every year I go, $80,000, and every year they go, no, I do it. But I do it every year because I know how important it is.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna get one pitch to hit over the ballpark,
And we're asking for $80,000, is $1,200,000 sitting in the account somewhere. And so,
So here's the issue.
where are we?
You have, I think, for what we've all been talking about, there's plenty of money for the equipment, right? There's over $1 million there. I think what the challenge is gonna be convincing them to part with some of that other 5% that they've been spending on everything else.
We haven't approached them, we don't know. We're gonna have to go to them with some sort of plan and ask before we spend too much time on this project. And then in the end, we'll just find out that yes or no, but we need to get some kind of an answer to where are we? You know, it's like we're out there in the universe without a road.
I agree with you. I
And we
agree.
need to get with them, we need to get some interim proposal to them so that we can say, hey, this is what we're kind of thinking about. Are we in the ballpark or are we just totally out of space?
And so what I think you need is, you need some research on the operational side of this. You need to be able to find out, how much is it gonna cost to hire a station manager? How much is it gonna cost to hire the technical people we need to run the
Well, we have kind of
operations?
an idea.
Okay,
We have kind of an idea. And we've got, we put a policy manual and a business plan together. So we've got quite a bit of it together already. If we need to get the other ball players in, you know, the other people in, like you guys, that's great, we can do that. But sooner or later, we've got to get down there and, you know, it's got to go through staff and we've got to see if there's any possibilities that we can move forward with this. And I'm hoping we can. And
I think we
everybody
can.
would benefit from it.
Yeah, I know our community needs it. When Todd Thayer, I mean, he was very generous, saying, hey, you know, we'll help you take over. But I'll tell you right now, here, I was happy that, you know, I was pleased that he offered, but at the same time, I felt like, why can't we manage our own stuff in our own city?
Amen.
Well, it's true, but what it was a catalyst to get people off their duff. It really got people moving.
And I think all of us, you know, certainly I, you know, have a lot of respect for
Mr. Thayer?
for Mr. Thayer.
Yeah.
But all of us are very much pro Oxnard.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, there's really no debate on where our preference.
And I don't think the city council members will vote on something to go out of the city. I mean,
Yeah, right. They
It
don't like
wouldn't make the
murdering.
next election, you know?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I am so impressed by what you're telling us, and your presentation to us makes me wonder, have you brought this kind of a presentation to the Oxnard City Council yet?
I work for the college, and this is my boss, so
Okay,
I have to be very careful. You know, that's why I asked him to be here, because, you know, I feel comfortable talking in front of him, you know, because I'm not committing anything, you know, on behalf of the college. But I have, you know, the technical side, and I also have some, you know, philosophical, if I can use that word, ideas on how to structure anything. I'd love to be in the room when decisions are made, but as far as the role of the college in a partnership, that's way above my pay grade.
Well,
Way above.
Yeah,
What
I
I'm
mean,
thinking-
unfortunately, it has to be driven by us.
right, but I agree. But what I'm visualizing is something that's kind of morphing into a real plan, in my head anyway. And that is to say, using the calendar that we're in, which is already almost the end of September, and looking toward the end of the year, and wondering also in the back of my mind how long it's going to take us to gather the various stakeholders, because we need to do that, and I'm really interested in helping that happen. But if we were going to make a presentation to the Oxnard City Council inviting you, both of you, but especially with your expertise, to say, we would like to present to the City Council one approach to how this opportunity can be achieved for the city of
I
Oxnard.
have a couple questions. Is this a nonprofit yet?
Well, we're kind of in the process.
You don't have the 501c3?
No, that takes years to
Okay,
get.
now, it's my understanding that that money has to be allocated to a nonprofit, right? Right. So,
That's their preference.
That's
No,
their
it doesn't
preference.
have to be, but that's the
I
preference.
have, and to piggyback on that question, I have already approached CAUSE to see if we could come under their umbrella. And I got a response from Maricela Morales needing a little more information. So that's the direction we're thinking of going.
I know Maricela very well. She's an awesome lady.
Yay.
Also, and Ken could talk about this too, we have a nonprofit on our campus, I think, we have a couple.
Well, the foundation.
Yeah,
That's a big one. But we have another nonprofit, not just the foundation, we have another one.
Well, see, you could make this a fund under a nonprofit.
Well, what I'm saying is that they need a fiscal agent that is a nonprofit.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You
but,
just make it
but
a
a
fund.
committee could administer that
Yes.
with, yeah. So there's cause, is a, the foundation.
When you say a committee, do you mean a board of directors?
Well, I don't know how it works. From my understanding, this is from what I've gathered, is that with a fiscal agent, like our foundation or cause from Ventura, then there could be, they're the fiscal agent, but in the bylaws or in the contract, a committee would run that under the purview of the fiscal agent.
Right, like a community foundation is.
So, but I don't know, I can't speak for the foundation, and neither can Ken, but I imagine that, well, they're a nonprofit. I mean, I don't know if they ever partner with community. Do you know if they partner with the fiscal agents?
I don't know. I mean, I know they partner with
That's certainly.
other groups for events and things like that.
That's certainly remove a huge roadblock for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to continue on the path I was traveling, I'm seeing us as bringing something to the city council before the end of the year and asking them to get it on the agenda now, which takes a while,
Yeah, it does.
once you ask for it. And see if we're ready when their timing coincides with us showing up, if we're ready. And gathering the information in the interim. I mean, I think we have a lot of work to do.
It's a lot of work. You know what I was thinking? I was thinking of the McNish Gallery. They're not nonprofit?
I think that was
And,
something.
we can't get too far ahead of our level of comfort and expertise. And certainly Mr. Thayer said, the important thing is just to start. That first little baby step, so even though I agree with your comments about shared network,
That's key.
that's kind of in the future also.
But I disagree because I happen to know, in speaking with some city people, that they're definitely aware that,
Certain members of the staff would be in favor. of it.
Well, but they're aware.
But you have to work the political.
But I don't
Convince them.
I don't think there's much convincing because it falls under, I know it sounds kind of weird, but it falls under disaster prevention. It does. Because if all that stuff is wiped out, if like there's a tsunami or God forbid something, right? So going back to that 5%, right, can they take, well, they'll have to look at it and say, well, this is definitely a disaster prevention. And I know they have so many already allocated for that. There's different ways to skin a cat. But what I'm saying is that if they are, and I know they are, because I've spoken to a few of the city people, that they definitely want to get on the edit share system, but it's going to take a community group like this to say, hey, we think this is a good idea. And then, when the lady that always writes the articles, what's her name?
Gretchen
Yeah,
Wenner.
when Gretchen spins this, the city has spent, $300,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but on the other side of it, I belong on the green team, Steve belongs to the city planning commission, and Travis over here, he's on the community relations commission, and anybody else?
Darlene's on the homeless commission.
Darlene's on the homeless commission. I know, I was at a meeting, it'll be about a week ago on this Friday, but we were talking about the MRF. the trash recycling center. Yeah, recycling
Yeah.
center over here.
What a horrible name.
Yeah.
It's run by little young people.
We were talking about it, and the city's just taken over responsibility for the trash collection. Let me put it.
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
So, when you collect the trash, there's the recyclables and there's the trash. And in the recyclables, a lot of people do things that they shouldn't do that contaminates the recycling materials. When it's dumped into the truck, it contaminates the whole truck and can cost the city a lot of money. And they were thinking, how can we get the word out to the city so that we could save a lot of money and make a lot of revenue for the city
I understand.
by preventing that from happening. And I brought up the fact that we're trying to set up the community, public access television, and we can get that word out to the public through our public access. And they went, whoa, that's a great idea. That's just one thing. So we've got other things we were doing over there, but that's one of the ideas that we could put on.
But
I actually make the city a revenue, so why would the city not want
Well,
to
first of
support
all,
something like this?
but first of all, to produce any video takes a tremendous amount of time and effort.
Well, we have people right here that are already producing video. Darlene and Paul, they're already,
Yeah, and so they can speak on how time consuming it is.
well, that's the whole point of the public access television. We have to train people. And Dan's producing some videos. He's already put a couple of videos up on YouTube that are from meetings such as this and from other things. So we're aware that it's going to take time.
So
We have to put 8 hours of production up, and
That's the law, 8 hours
8 hours.
a
We have
week?
to put 24 hours. 8 hours a
A
day.
day?
But that's the thing about cooperating between the schools and the public access, where we can put stuff from us on your stations, you can put yours on ours, so we can cover each other. I don't know if you have 8 hours.
We don't even have that.
Yeah, so that's the, we're all working together with all the schools and get it all worked out. But, we gotta, we're trying to move forward on this thing. It's not an endless loop, we've gotta make some traction on this thing.
See, I don't think the issue is whether or not the city will support it. I think the fact that they put out their MOU with David Cruz shows that they want to support this. They want something to happen. So I don't think that's the issue. I think from their side is they don't know how to put it together. So they're simply waiting for somebody to walk in the door and say, here it is. Here's the way.
Well, and we didn't want to give it up from the perspective of having it be a financial opportunity for a professional organization to take it over. We're trying to keep it for the community.
Well, I
so
don't,
that's-
yeah, and realistically, there is no financial opportunity. There's no profit to be made off public access television.
Well,
Just isn't.
You'd
That's
be
why
amazed
that's
at how
why
many
they didn't
folks who-
perform on the MOU.
Right.
yeah, well, it's, go ahead.
That's the very same thing that Councilwoman Padilla was here, and she said that they didn't want to necessarily have to put an RFP out, that we show up with the organized and got a plan, we'd probably get it.
And we put an awful lot of work into this already, believe me.
Awesome.
We didn't start last week.
Yeah.
We've been working at, not a long time, but we've been on this for a couple of months already. And we've gone through
From
this.
0 to 60.
Yeah, we moved pretty fast. We have moved pretty fast. We, like I said, we do have a business plan and policy and
That's awesome.
and
That's awesome.
we have a board of directors, and we've got a vision, and.
It isn't perfect, no.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but we want to, but the other thing is Councilman Padilla, she said that if we don't come up with something in a reasonable period of time, they're going to have to put
Yeah. And remember what Todd Thayer said, is that a lot of their money goes to the building that they're in. So that's something that partnership, that potential partnership with Oxnard College would be a very big asset. It would cover up that big what if, well, where are you gonna house this?
Yeah.
Who's gonna pay for the lights?
All those questions.
But if we didn't think it was going to bring something to Oxnard College, we wouldn't have you guys here. We want to support the college. We understand that last year, that Oxnard got the sticky end of the stick, and that the
Oh, with the budget cuts?
part got a lot of.
Well, remember, we're the smallest college in the largest city.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is that?
And the last one too,
Last,
Well, and actually,
started on the storefront.
that's the answer to why.
well,
This is, you know, you mentioned cause, and I'll be honest, we have a somewhat challenging relationship with cause.
Yes.
And the reality is, it's one of two things. It's either because they're simply not able to understand the way our system works, or they don't want to understand the way our system works.
Either way, it's
Right,
not
you know, now,
helpful.
and there may be an argument to be had with our board about how the funds get allocated, but realistically, all they really do is allocate funds to the 3 colleges the same way the state chancellor's office allocates funds to each of the 112 colleges in the system. So to come out and say, for whatever reason, you know, and there certainly are persuasive arguments to say you need to really invest more in Oxnard College. But here's what would happen. The minute the board says, okay, well, we need to invest in Oxnard College, so we're going to change our allocation model, and we're going to give Oxnard College 40% of the overall budget. Well, now we have Ventura College and Moore Park standing there with pitchforks and torches and saying, wait a minute, you've just decimated our programs in order. It's not, we've developed to a point where it's not realistic for our board to say, we can significantly change our allocation model. The only way that we as a college are going to get bigger is to take advantage the way we are right now and be the one college that's able to grow while the others aren't doing so much. And that's exactly what's happening. So it's entirely possible that as long as Prop 30 is around, which is only a few more years, we could go from getting only 18% of the budget to getting 22, 23% of the district overall allocation.
We'd like to see Oxnard College,
Yeah.
the public awareness.
and I want this to
for Oxnard
succeed,
College.
because I want the public eye to succeed, because I tell you what, you get a person who starts to make videos, you know, non-traditional learner, an adult in the community, you know, and also they say, hey, let's take the 101 class from Professor Arozco,
Yeah.
and let's take this other class. Before you know it, they got their degree. I mean, it happens.
It's
So, you know,
Can I say something?
yes, ma'am.
My daughter, what is it, Ellie, like 6 years ago, she was looking for a class to, you know, she was looking to go to school. And when she went to Oxnard College, that's what she was planning to do, but with all these cuts, all our kids, they go to other schools, so my daughter had to go to San Francisco to take the class they were teaching. And then now she does a lot of stuff for, now she's in Los Angeles, and she goes to Philadelphia. What I'm saying is that we need to support our community, to get back our children, to take back the city so they can start building back. I mean, we're here because we really want to change how Oxnard has been, you know, doing business and not working with the colleges and working with the community. So that's what we invited you, because we really need to start supporting the schools.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and I think you're gonna have more support from the council members if this proposal you're working on is tied to an education component. Going back to that vision I was telling you of the elementary school girl using the equipment, you know, maybe an after-school program where she's using that equipment, paid for by this money here, and then they go to the middle school, there's equipment there, then they go to the high school, and then they go to the college. I mean, all that money's going back. Imagine if a 8-year-old begins to make videos, you know, when they're 18, they've already been doing this for 10 years. I mean, you know, you're talking about the crop of filmmakers and artists, visual artists that come out of this community. If that money is put to use in an equitable and a visionary way, but that takes a lot of planning. I can speak for myself. I would love to teach at you know, different arenas, different areas. You know, Ken, when he got here, you know, we used to teach at high schools, and now we under his leadership, we're bringing back that high school partnership. So next semester, I'm teaching a video, intro to digital video class, where Channel Island students are gonna walk across the street and take my class right after school. Yeah. So, you know, that's good, that's exciting stuff.
Yeah, the high
And I
school
know
is
that
that
we
close.
Yeah.
bring in the Oxnard Harbor District and some of their money, because I think they might be really interested in joining in on this.
Oh, yeah, for all kinds of vacationers and opportunities to bring people to come and visit Oxnard. The city council would like that. Tourism, you know.
Well,
It's a
we
big
already,
piece of it.
we already started doing a lot of the shows because, we wanted to send a message to our, councils and our staff. We started doing a lot of the chef shows, and we started doing the health care shows. And we started doing a lot of the educational shows. And so and then we have, Meet the Boss, our mayor, you know, and we're showing, Ventura. So can you imagine the mayor from Ventura seeing our mayor and we were talking about our issues?
I love it.
So,
Oh, wait a minute, last week we got to see Oxnard PD all week.
we did the checkpoints, you know, we were there, we were the consul, and we were doing the consulado, capsules. And we're doing to show Ventura outside of Oxnard, and so our way of sending a message is showing that, sending it to Ventura. You know, we really need to focus on Oxnard, and we're telling you, you know, we need our show, we need our public access, we need to educate our community, especially with Obamacare. You know, I talked to a lot of the elderly, I talked to the homeless, I talked to everyone, and they're telling me, we don't have any information. And the healthcare is telling me that they're gonna print, brochures to explain to the people out there. I worked in the healthcare for many years, and you know people don't read. So you really need your public access to be able to educate our community, body organizations. So I think that if we can work together in the way that we could start changing the way that we run our city, we could probably do it, you know, sooner than we had to do.
I agree, and, you know, we have like I said at the onset of this meeting, we have a $20 million building on the south side of Oxnard. I mean, when they built that, I was so happy.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
And we would love to be the host. And that's one of the things that our president has said. He would love for Oxnard College to be the location
I love that too.
where
Sure.
this gets developed and, you know, that we can say broadcasting from the campus of Oxnard College.
Yeah.
So that's very much, we're open to that. We would love to see that happen. You know, the one overarching challenge we always have is everything moves very slowly in public education, and I think in particular in community colleges. We are more regulated than the K-12 or either the university systems. Whenever we bring somebody in, every time I meet somebody who's moved from outside of California to take a job at a community college in California, they just shake their head and say, I can't believe the regulation. Title V, which is what governs us, is massive. So the challenge we run into in all of that is everybody, we want to make a proposal by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I can't make a commitment on behalf of the college that we'll be ready for that, just because of all of the steps we have to go through to get to that point. Because much like you are going to have to convince city council, we have to go convince our board of trustees
Yeah.
before we get there. So, now, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm certainly hopeful that our board is going to recognize the opportunity as well for our students and sign on. But it takes time and a lot of effort to get to that point.
That's true, but I will say something, in the last 12 years, this is, I can speak from our board, this is the most TV-friendly board I've ever seen. That may change
Yeah.
next year in November, right? There's elections, or is it, no, yeah, next year, because they were off this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a whole year with a very TV-friendly board. And the makeup of the council, as all of you know, it's very TV-friendly as well.
We have about a year left with that tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only have a year too with our
Pardon?
council.
Well, we have Larry Kennedy. I don't know if you know Larry Kennedy. He's a teacher. He's very pro television, very cool guy. Art Hernandez. We have Perez. I don't know his first name.
Bernardo.
Bernardo Perez.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, he supports TV a lot.
He's also an advisory board member to CLU, Ventura County CLU. It's Clergy and Lay of the United for Economic Justice.
And then Plum,
Steve Blum,
Steve Blum, and then the lady, right?
Diane
Kendra?
No. Diane McKay.
Okay. So, yeah, definitely, you know, when our program was up for discontinuance, we had 4 of the board of trustees vote for us to keep it. The one person who voted against us, Larry Kennedy, beat him in the election. Larry Kennedy is a very good friend of ours. So, just, you know, I think the window is there.
Right
I
now.
think in a year from now, it may not be there.
Same with the city council.
Mhm.
Yes, sure.
So how would we proceed with all of us kind of working toward the same goal? Could we have kind of like an interim consortium of folks that would interact?
Well, the next step on our side is I'm gonna need to sit down one-on-one with our president and
Okay,
pitch it to him
okay.
and see where he is on
Mhm.
it. Because I'll be honest with you, he didn't want to jump right in because he perceived a potential controversy with David Cruz and his group trying to get the contract. And, you know, just, we can't afford to get involved in any political messes.
That's
Right,
all.
so that's what I understand now. So that's, now I have to take it back to, right, that's, you know, he's just, like, as I said at the beginning, he's a cautious man, wants to protect the college.
Sure.
And so, doesn't want to walk into anything where there's going to be any kind of fighting over who's going to get to do this. It's more from our side, it's a perspective of, we would like to offer our services, but it has to be kind of non-controversial as it develops and gets put together.
You know, we haven't really made this a secret. I mean, we've had.
Oh, we have a
this
Facebook page
agendized
and everything.
From the Community Relations Commission, it's an inter-neighborhood council forum, the city council has talked about it.
Occupy Oxnard.
You know, and I haven't witnessed any other individuals or groups that, you know,
So nobody else is stepping up and contending at this
that.
point.
A lot
that
of
I can
chatter,
see.
but nobody's,
Other
you
things
know,
that-
coagulating into a group.
Nobody's gonna make any money at it, so
Nobody's
who's
Yeah,
gonna benefit
well-
except for us.
But we've really come quite a ways. I mean, we're fairly organized at
Like I
this
say.
point.
Nothing.
Well,
I can make something from it.
there's a lot of gifted folks in the group.
Yeah, I can feel the passion. I love that. I think it's a good thing.
So I want to speak about just the, well, go to the city council and speak on this. Is there a possibility that you could kind of be one of the speakers? Because, you know, we're thinking about just one person. But with your input, I feel that would be helpful.
But you wouldn't do it to identify yourself as college.
Right.
You wear a mask.
You know,
No, you.
I'll answer you with this. If I get the okay from the guy sitting next to me, I can definitely speak at the city council.
Yeah.
Now, I can speak as a citizen
Yes, of
anytime I
course,
want,
absolutely.
but if I'm speaking on behalf of the college, yeah, that really has to come
Sure.
from.
Yeah.
No, you don't speak on their behalf. Speak as a citizen with your knowledge.
Well, that's very tricky because then I'll sound very biased.
Yeah.
I definitely want, and I'm gonna push, my big thing is I'm gonna push, going back to the content, where are we gonna put the content?
Shared network.
Where are we gonna put the content?
Can I ask you some questions?
Billions of gigabytes are gonna
Yeah.
be created.
That would be, okay, so what we're talking about is servers at multiple locations
Yeah.
connected by a fiber optic cable.
Yeah.
Is the fiber optic cable in place?
Yes.
It's in place.
Ooh.
So we just have to, okay, so we would need to push it, get the agreement, purchase the servers, and is there a software
Yeah.
involved?
They're actually called edit share.
Now, is the software is always the most expensive item.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, like I said, just for our college, it was about 80,000. So multiply it by,
Does that include the hardware and the software?
yeah, for our college, it's about 80 grand. But remember, we're talking about, you know, thousands of gigabytes being produced, or millions of gigabytes. Where are we gonna put all that space?
When you say the fiber optic cable is in place, that was the cable that was laid by Verizon or GTE or whatever.
Well, we have our own fiber ring on campus that then connects to the outside.
Okay,
And I
but
believe that the city has also invested money in laying fiber optic
The
cables
city
as well.
infrastructure, I mean, can't you just run it through the channel?
The channel, the TV
Well,
channel?
yeah.
No, the TV channel is coaxial cable. It's like 25 inches.
Ancient.
But I do know,
Why do they always
yeah, but I,
fiber optics out of the?
well, but I do know
The
this,
cable companies, what came through, and they laid a lot of fiber optic cable.
yeah.
Whether we can utilize their bandwidth, I don't know.
See, I think if we go that direction, now we get into having to pay them to access their network.
I mean, the city does have a lot of fiber lines. I mean, you know, do
I mean,
you remember recently how they dug up all the street lamps and all that? I mean, the lights? They did all that with some money, I don't know where it came from, but they put all that on fiber optic lines.
Right, so all of the stoplights, right?
In the whole city
Yeah, The
are
whole
fiber.
traffic network is fiber optic.
But the bottom line here is, if somebody doesn't go after that petty money, they're just gonna sit there until it's 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, and until until they end the program, and then what are they gonna do with it?
But
They're gonna go,
with
well,
this-
let's go back to the state.
That's a good point. But with this,
Christina has plans for it.
who's that?
Christina?
Public information
No,
officer.
Oh, no. And I know Christina very well. She's a nice lady. She's a nice lady. I think that she's kind of put in a bind sometimes because she's the PIO.
The city is.
So she's, you know, she has to be the bearer of bad news all the time, so she's in a very tough situation, but she's a nice lady personally, you know, she's a very nice lady, but,
So the city,
yeah, but,
that's the.
well, you know, I mean, she's got, you know, I imagine, you know, she's doing what she feels is best, you know, like we all do, right?
But the thing is, when this came up about the money, she didn't know anything about it. So she had to have the camera to come up and talk about the money.
Yeah.
So then when he started talking about how much money is there, then all of a sudden she knew where the money was.
Well, I run a business,
say, well,
and
when
my
she
wife
was-
runs all the money, so I don't know what's going on with the money. If you
Yeah.
ask me how much money I got, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not,
my
I'm not
wife.
talking about that, I'm talking about
She
Christine.
doesn't
So
necessarily.
she said that, oh, well, we got plans for it to spend that back, something they gonna change back behind the.
Well, she doesn't, she, you know, she works for the city council members, so the
No,
city
she works
council,
for the city
She works for the
manager.
city
well,
manager.
but the city manager works for the city council members.
Right.
I mean, it all comes back to the city
That's what I've
council.
been told.
No, that's the way it is, that's the way, at least that's the way
Jury's
it's
still
supposed
out
to.
on that one.
At least that's what I learned in my political science classes.
Yeah, but in reality, it's
Yeah.
the same.
That's right, that's right, that's right. And the city council members work for us, the citizens.
You suppose it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, going back, and I'm gonna keep saying that, the edit share system, that would surpass what even CAPS is doing. I mean, that
Could they
is,
break out from Granicus if they had edit share?
There you go.
I don't even know who Granicus
Because they're
is.
saying, we don't have enough
YouTube
space
for the
on
city.
Granicus.
That's where they store all their archives.
Oxnard does that too?
Yeah, Granicus is where they.
Is that who was at the meeting? There was a couple guys at the
That was
meeting.
somebody.
It's archive, Oxnard archives, it's city council meetings, and it's planning commission meetings. Back to.
And they
about
claim that there's not,
2006.
they don't have enough bandwidth.
Yeah.
And they don't have enough storage for other, like the community relations. Commission.
Yeah, that
There's no
would,
storage.
yeah, we wouldn't need anything in Granicus.
See, that'd be
It would all
great.
be edit share.
There you go.
Because they're
So
using
there's-
their
You
time.
say times 3, 80 times, you said it costed
Well,
80,000?
Just for our colleges, can you imagine like, to get it for the city and then, you know, for the elementary, I mean,
There you go.
it's cost of scale, but you definitely, I think it's gonna be about $220,000 to get this going. But once we get it going, I'm telling you, it will be a model for other cities to look at and say, these guys all can share, content, yes. And let's say a citizen does their like $20 membership fee to be,
Yeah.
then they're allocated 500 gigabytes. There you go, 500 gigabytes. So they don't have to go out and buy a hard drive.
Or just like the cloud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is just.
That's what it is.
yeah,
It is,
yeah.
yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, this is mine, absolutely. Now, if you don't, keep your dues up, whatever, we're gonna have to erase that, or, but before we do it, can you bring a hard drive in, we'll put all the stuff for you on your hard drive. One click, gone, allocate that space to another person.
But with all the money that the city is spending on Granicus, you can have your drink.
Yeah, and also, Luis we could maybe get some money from them to start getting part-timers to like, or even
Yeah,
students.
What's
But my thought is somebody's gonna have to ingest
Right.
all this footage. I mean, I have a lot of
Get started.
I have a lot of students, and I have a lot of student workers.
Interns.
Well, maybe interns, but more than anything, I think definitely interns, but there has to be some kind of a way, I don't know how it's gonna be, I mean, that's again, administrators are gonna have to figure that out, to get some money into the, minimum wage, so a student can sit there and just start putting in all the salsa festivals for all the years, and then it's all there. I mean, it's gonna take years to put all that together. And I really want to make this point before I forget, whatever deal or whatever contract or whatever memorandum of understanding is signed with this group, with the city and the college involved in, it has to be more than a year. It has to be more than 2 years.
Yeah.
It has to be something that you can see it and study its trajectory. Because in 1 year, it's not gonna do nothing. It has to be a 4 to 5 year plan. And maybe they're gonna say, and here's a suggestion. I'm not speaking on behalf of the college, please. But maybe there has to be some kind of if some of that 5% is already earmarked for potholes, and they're like, hey man, we can't spend this for a year, 2 years. Maybe there's another group, or another entity that can say, we'll cover the expenses this year, or maybe the next year. But after the second year, then the city kicks in, just, because I understand.
The budget.
But I understand a budget. I mean, you spend it before you get it. I mean, we gotta, and everybody has their pet project. Every council member has their pet project, believe me. I imagine, I wanna do this, I want graffiti cleanup, I want this. But if you take that pressure off of them, maybe they'll say, hey, okay, in the third year, or in the second year, I don't know. But somebody's gotta step up, and I don't know if that's the college, that's the discussion that is between the administrators, but I see it as a way for the city to say, hey, you know what? We're going to take some of that 5%, but not now, maybe in 2015.
But they can offer seed money for the startup processes. And you're talking about the ongoing continuing expenses, is that right?
Or even the initial, like Ken mentioned, the station manager. And really, it's somebody that manages the station. And
Professional.
I don't necessarily think it has to be full-time, I really don't, because it's just talking about, setting up some hourly time so the community members can bring in their footage, edit, ingest it, and then now schedule it, And they can schedule it at home with the software. I mean, really, just take that goes share there.
But that doesn't come out of the money, that doesn't come out.
Yes. That's not technology or infrastructure, that's human
Yeah,
resources.
because there's the 5% franchise fee that goes in the general fund, but there's also Measure O money. So this is all at the whim of the city council.
No, there's also-
We just have to present a strong enough case to convince
The case
three
is,
members of the city council to
the case
give
is,
us some seed money.
what's it gonna cost the city to advertise for certain items that are gonna be of interest to the MERC? What's gonna be certain items that are gonna be beneficial to,
I don't think, with all due respect, I don't think that's the argument. I don't think that's the argument. They could care less about that. I think the argument is simply education. The argument is resources to the community members. The argument is a network that the government channel, the education and the public access can have together. It is a strong entity like Oxnard College to house it and support it. It's local, it's in here, it's in Oxnard, on the south side of Oxnard. I think those are the arguments that are gonna win this. It's not what kind of advertising, because they can care less about that. But yeah, but they
That's the whole
can, yeah,
basis
but
putting
The
together.
basis is we have to be neutral. You know, somebody else can bring those things up.
Although I see your point, because that's a great selling point. If they see benefits coming to the city, you know, they'll feel it's in their interest, you know, to go along with it.
But there's
I gotta
things
tell
that
you,
they don't want people to know.
yeah, I gotta tell you one thing. In looking at the city council, especially what the city's been through, we've all been through it together the last few years, the biggest selling point is there'll be no drama.
And that's right,
That's what they're craving.
yeah.
The mayor wants no drama, Councilwoman Ramirez wants no drama, Christina wants no drama. I mean, because we've been through a lot as a city. I mean, it's been a tough few years. I don't blame Christina at all. She's been in the trenches for a lot of years. So if they can say, if this group can say X, Y, and Z, zero drama,
And accentuate the positive.
all the
That's
stakeholders are involved. Well, what about the school districts? And are they gonna complain? No, listen, we've got this person, this Oxnard College. All these ducks in a row, and they're gonna be like, no drama. Wow, that's nice. That's something that we haven't experienced in many, many years. Approved, boom, moving on. That's what they want. They want zero drama.
Yeah. That's my ideal dream.
That's there. I mean, can you imagine no drama?
That's their dream too, I do.
Yeah.
Ted said they could do their campaign pitches on the gym.
That's right, there you go.
Well, so, yeah, whatever, I think the next step, I don't know what the next step is, other than maybe, well, Ken mentioned that he's gonna talk to our boss, and then after that, I imagine Ken will.
Are we gonna have another meeting tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
So you're gonna answer for us tomorrow, right?
I don't think the
We won't.
I know you're real busy,
There's
but
a question over here.
I'm talking. I know you're real busy, but can you put together those talking points for me?
Well, what we discussed here?
Now, what you're talking about going to the different stakeholders.
Stakeholders.
Oh, yeah.
This gentleman here, he has contact with the Oxnard
Yeah.
High School
Right.
District and the elementary school.
Yes.
And I'll take the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah, I can email him. As a matter of fact, I wrote like a proposal like 3 years ago, because when I had kind of like the epiphany, the dreamscape moment, but I didn't send it to anybody.
Well, I'm not talking
But-
about just talking points to where,
But those talking points were in that like
Oh.
proposal. I talked about the vision of collapsing all of them to one station.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'll send you just what I have so you can look at
We
it.
have Dan's record too, so.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that would be great.
Yeah, but once again, one strong education channel as opposed to three mediocres.
Mhm.
It just makes sense to me.
Okay.
If you can send that to,
Steve,
Maybe after-
I have Steve's email.
okay, you got
Yes.
Bill's email?
And then if you could give him the talking
Okay, you
points.
guys get together, get a meeting,
Okay.
get that worked out, that'd be great.
Yeah, or email.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Did either of you or both of you
And-
bring business cards by any
Did you bring a bunch of business cards?
I don't have business cards. Yeah. They don't allow me to have business cards. I'm just joking. I just never have.
So how do we maintain our dialogue between us? Please.
I really appreciate it.
And you guys,
Thank you.
you gentlemen aren't going anywhere in the next 18 months or so, are you?
For me.
No.
Nothing planned.
If you have some information for us, you know, get hold of us, or?
Well, if somebody, you've all got like right now, if somebody contacts me, then I'll have that on record and wait and get back to you.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank
you.
Time.
Yeah, we're thrilled to use this.
Just talking to all of you, fellowship has been great. And come by if you get a chance, come by.
Proud up and ready to go.
Come by the studio if you guys get a chance to come by and just send me an email before, maybe you can give them all my email. And then just say, hey, do you know.
What building is that?
It's the brand new Performing Arts Building.
Oh, it's so
We're
gorgeous.
right next, the little building next to it,
Okay.
that's the TV
If
studio.
you're coming south on Rose, it's the first thing you see. It's right there
Yeah.
in the northwest corner of campus.
The woman who heads the EOPS office is Ana Maria.
She was,
Not
she
anymore,
was
she's
retired.
retired. She retired.
Oh, my gosh.
She's sipping a Mai Tai somewhere, laughing at all of us.
Andres, do you have a dot edu?
It's that one, but it's just A Orozco. A Orozco. A-O-R-O-Z-C-O. A-O-R-O-Z-C-O, and it's the same thing as Ken's.
Same to me.
Yeah, A Orozco.
Yeah, do you still have Ray Tejada?
VCCC.
How many
Three
Cs?
Cs.
And he's a friend.
Three Cs.
Yeah, O-R-O, Z as in zebra, C as in cat, O.
Or D?
D, then .edu.
Ray's doing like a middle school there now.
Okay,
Yeah.
and his wife is Teresa de la Torre. She teaches there too in the preschool or?
Yeah, she teaches them
Right,
at the
early childhood, yeah,
development,
yeah.
Yeah, they're great, they're such a cute couple.
Oh, yeah,
I
they're
love
very
watching
dear
them
friends.
when they're walking and they're like still holding hands.
They are, they're
This is-
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're cute, they're a very cute couple.
Yeah. And I have friends who teach, Bill, I'm missing his last name for some reason, was